Alright, let's see what the gas looks like out here. Boop. Should have went down. $3.58. Let's go see for sure. Go see for sure. Gas should be going down. Ceasefire is in effect. Grass is cut. Yard looking good. Had to make a move. Like get rid of change. Middle of the street. The fuck is wrong with y'all? One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20. Let's get it.
We left off yesterday, where the president's ultimatum to Iran has gone viral. It's gotten so big that even people in right-wing politics is now condemning the president, calling for the 25th Amendment to be invoked. Yes, this is where we're at. Eric Swalwell is facing sexual assault allegations that could derail his ability to become the next governor of California. And we have so many other stories to get to in this video, but let's start with what's going on with the president and what he said. Take a listen.
Right now, the Iran terror regime has under 12 hours to reopen the Strait of Hormuz or
Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Johnny. You're now connected with Johnny Girl 609. Hope everyone's having a great day today. Y'all ready to get in and get out? I am. Let's go.
On August 14th, 2025, officers were dispatched to Orlando International Airport after receiving reports of an active battery involving a disorderly passenger.
A man here broke some monitors.
Oh, broke some monitors? You trying to go to jail?
She was on a flight that it took off, had a maintenance problem, had the air return. So as she was boarding the second flight, she got upset. And then it went from there.
194, return to all, the subject. Hi.
Right.
What happened?
What happened is that I had a breakdown because these
Go ahead. Just keep talking.
oh, okay. I've been waiting for this flight after 45 minutes that I was here in the road after all the time that we need to wait, right? I was
Get off the phone and tell us what happened. Tell us what happened. Forget about it.
it's just it's my mom. It's my mom.
Okay, so get over
Yeah, madre.
It's my mom. It's my mom. It's my madre. Everybody should be allowed to talk to their mom when they're having a fit in the airport, not to just damage their property. Call my mom. Let's go.
Madre.
Yeah.
How old are you?
She's 75.
How old are you?
I'm 46.
Okay, you can talk without your mom. So what happened?
Mom. So this is what happened. I get into a breakdown because I was talking with my mom at the hallway in a louder voice. So one of the guys come to me and is screaming at me that the people don't need to hear my conversation, which is I'm agree. All right? But right now I'm really frustrated. I am in medications. Just because my brother is dying, he's gonna be disconnected.
What they gotta do with that?
I need to be there because he's gonna be disconnected tomorrow. It's not my problem.
So
It's not
what
my
else?
fault.
So what else happened?
What else happened? That I get angry and I hit all the computers and everything because
Okay. Okay, so now
Because your brother is going
she's
to be
about to
dying
explain to us
tomorrow.
why she showed off at 46. And it's a shame. If her story's true, which I can kind of believe her. I don't know why I want to believe her, but I don't know. She kind of seems truthful. But if it's true about her brother, going to be deceased the next day and he gonna get unplugged, that's very, very unfortunate. Now, how she act from there, we'll go there. But I just want to throw that out there. That is unfortunate about her brother. But let's continue.
because I told them, okay, I can, you kick me out of the flight, okay, that's perfect. But give me my money to buy another ticket in another flight, right? Because it's not my mistake that after 45 minutes, the Southwest be on the air, go back to MCO, because one of the tires is damaged.
So what else after you hit the monitors? Then what happened?
Nothing happens. I calling you. Nothing happens. I'm being here.
Okay. Did you break a monitor?
Yes, I think, because I hit them with my phone.
Oh yeah, you're going to jail.
You hit who with the phone?
I hit them.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Taco Quisha, you out of here, Taco Quisha, you gone.
Cool. Can I see that?
I also have it right here too.
Oh, she did more than hit the monitor. Oh. Oh.
Two knives wasted. Two knives wasted. Two knives, 3 planes. After 45 minutes.
Okay.
Call the police.
So you want to press charges?
Yep.
Quick press charges after all of that. She talking like I was just talking to my mom today. Mama, my mom today. You see, my mom today. And my brother, he's going to pass away. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? You ain't got to act like that. Now your mama going to have to bury somebody and bail somebody out. That's a damn shame. Oh, she said her mama was 75. So now she got to bury a child, but she got to bail another one out. Let's continue.
Well, you got 2 views. So, do you
You know how to work Axon?
Yes. I just talked to my station manager, Raphael, and yes.
Okay, you're going to write a statement for me? Yeah. Okay, and apparently she broke a...
I don't get it. We just left it out. The monitors ripped out of the wall.
Okay.
And then she hit me on the wrist with her phone and kicked me.
Okay. How much is this going to cost?
I have no idea.
Estimate?
Each monitor is probably
$5,000.
I would say 1,000. Keyboard too, so that's probably 200.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. Manager wants to press charges.
You're going to jail. You're going to jail.
Who's primary on this?
I want to press charge.
Okay, we'll settle that out. We'll settle that out. What happened? You want?
I want to press charge too.
Okay, we'll get you a right of statement.
Stop moving.
Stop moving. Just stay still.
She's too close to my cousin.
Stop. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
And they broke my heart. And they broke my flight. It's not a crime, Dad? No, that is not a...
No, Taco Quisha, we sorry, but breaking your heart is not a crime. And I know your heart was just as fragile as that monitor, but it don't count. And who you gonna press charges on? Did nobody hit you, kick you, bite you, break your stuff? You did that to them.
Crime, right? That is not a crime. To mess up with people's lives?
Yeah, okay.
That is not a crime.
All right, no problem.
That is not a crime.
You got ID? Stop moving. Stop moving.
Just release me.
Stop moving.
I will not stop moving.
Okay, I need you to stop moving.
I have my medication.
Let's go. Let's go.
Well,
walk with me.
Yeah.
Come on.
I hope you do that.
No, I just don't want you to move.
No, I just want that you do that to,
I want you to
your
move.
family members when they die.
No.
When they are dying. I have a good liar.
Come on.
Don't worry.
Come on. Come on, don't start laughing.
Okay. So what is the pace that I need to walk?
Right here. Stop for 1 second. Stop.
Okay.
Stop moving around.
Okay,
I'm walking
but
around
what
with
do you want me to do?
I want you to stand still. Yeah, I got a car down there. I'm just trying to remember where I'm going. Ah, there it is. I'm right down there. You can get the paperwork down there.
I hope you're proud.
I'm not proud.
Yeah, you are really proud.
I'm not proud at all. Stop squirming your arms.
Yeah, but why you are squeezing me?
Stop
You are squeezing, you are hurting me.
Come on.
But you are hurting me. You are hurting me. I'm not resisting. How am I resisting? You have me bent over.
Because you're squirming your arms and you're trying to get out of these handcuffs.
Damn. What's going on with these people today?
Okay, my lawyer is gonna see all the bruises.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is there an elevator over here?
Laquisha, your lawyer gonna see all that crap you did, take your money, and tell you sorry, girl. We could probably get you a little probation. So your lawyer, you're right. Your lawyer gonna see all of that. He gonna see every damn thing that your ass did. Not what they did, but what you did. See, I was kind of believing you a little bit about the brother thing, but I don't know now. I don't know. I'm on the fence, but let's see. I guess it don't matter. I know I was right about your ass going to jail, though. Let's go.
All the bruises.
That elevator?
All the bruises.
To get downstairs?
All the bruises.
I got it. Is there an elevator down here? All right. Come on. Walk. Walk.
Oye, pero ya déjale. No me tienes que apretar, hermano. O sea, ¿cuál es el problema? Yo puedo caminar. Déjame caminar bien. Let me walk.
Okay, Johnny's crew, all my Spanish-speaking crew members, please put in the comment section what she was just talking about. Let us know.
Why you are still doing force on me?
Up against stuff.
I am not resisting.
Okay.
I am not resisting.
Oh,
I'm
what's
just
it
trying to
about?
tell you that it's hurt.
Oh,
See my hands already. I'm hurt. Yeah. I hope that you
Stop.
that you're gonna take pictures of the bruises that you are creating on me. Because in any moment I'm being resisting. And I'm doing anything wrong. Just waiting.
Yeah.
Come on, come here. Yeah. How do we get out of here?
Like they're going to remain closer. The 7 years. Open it.
Stop pulling me.
Can you stop?
You stop pulling.
You are pulling me.
Let's go.
You are pulling me. Abuser. You are an abuser.
Yeah.
She was an abuser.
Just abuser.
Stop. Stop. Stop.
Oh,
You understand? Stop pulling me. You're done pulling me. You understand me?
you are.
Walk slowly. You pull me again, you're going to the ground.
Yeah, I know that what you want, but I used to.
Against the car. Against the car. Walk to the car. Spread your feet. All good. It's not hard. You start pulling me around, we're gonna have problems. One second. One second. Get it. Scoot over. Right there. You got any information on her?
That's Armani's got everything.
Salamit. All right. The airport. Are you listening to me? They're trespassing you from this airport.
Damn.
Come back here for 1 year.
Oh my gosh.
If you come back, you are subject to arrest. You understand?
How am I gonna get to Puerto Rico to bury my brother?
You would have to take another airport.
One airport.
Miami, Tampa, Jacksonville.
How am I gonna get there?
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. You have to figure it out. But if you come back here, you will be arrested if they want those charges. Okay?
Yeah.
All right.
She was charged with battery, criminal mischief over $1,000, and resisting an officer without violence.
Okay,
So last week, it was a good conversation, the episode of Injustice for All, because we all know last week on April 1st, the Supreme Court heard closing arguments for the birthright citizenship, Trump versus Barber. And, you broke down that hearing on Thursday. A lot of positive feedback from that. But I want to continue down the road of the 14th Amendment, right? Because people are still talking about this birthright citizenship, as we should, because there's just so many avenues and, things to discuss, especially when it comes to our immigration system here. But I wanted to share this because I want to specifically zone in on the 14th Amendment and Ketanji Brown Jackson, right? And Black America.
Must we?
Yes. Your girl. So the Root, right, which is one of these Black woke media platforms, says Black Americans praise Ketanji Brown Jackson for questioning Trump's position on birthright citizenship. And this is the actual article here. So it says, Ketanji Brown Jackson stood out from several justices appearing to be skeptical of the president's argument against the citizenship clause in the 14th Amendment. So, and Justice Jackson is going viral after clips of her questioning Trump's interpretation of the 14th Amendment began circulating the internet. Justice Jackson has more balls than most members of the Senate, House, and her colleagues on the SCOTUS bench combined. It says the High Court heard arguments on Wednesday. For the landmark case, Jackson stood out from several justices appearing to be skeptical of President's arguments against the citizenship clause in the 14th Amendment, specifically the first Black woman Supreme Court Justice grilled Solicitor General John Sawyer about how enforcing Trump's January 2025 executive order will actually work. And we kind of went over this before, but
I went over it and I don't agree with that. That's just a product of bigoted ignorance because they want Sister Gal. Frankly, I don't think she should have been on the Supreme Court. And if you just had to have a politically correct appointment, it should have been Justice Roger E. Clifton, who is senior to this person, was senior to this person on the Second Circuit, or Justice Bernice Donald on the Sixth Circuit, whom I mentored. They would have been excellent additions to the U.S. Supreme Court. This woman is, no, she's not it. So it was just the sop to the rainbow cult community, and that's what she's been about. That's why she did not know what a woman was, because she was signaling to them, and that's what we saw here. I think the Solicitor General backed her down, basically threw what she had to ask him back in her face in a very polite and erudite fashion, and went on to something that the rest of the justices were focusing on. I'm sure she'll be against what Trump does, but anyway, I was not impressed, though there were a number of reasons to find that if you took the avenue she was leading down, the decision that came out of all of that would have simply said it's not constitutionally prohibited from doing what Trump was trying to accomplish. It just wasn't done the right way, which is just a setback. So you can't win even in a football game where you're totally dominant and you do win the game. You can't win every set of downs, and sometimes you have to punt. That's just the analogy for the thing. It might be a situation you can't get a first, so you got to punt and keep going when you get the ball back again.
So it says the Root reported that President Trump attempted to axe birthright citizenship on his first day back in the White House and was met with serious backlash from folks who saw the order as an attack against immigrants and an attack on the U.S. Constitution. Online folks praised Jackson for getting straight to business had his ass sounding like he was just smoking on a whole car in a new
God, the ignorance that you hear online from online commentary is astonishing. People that don't have a clue about these subjects, who sit there and pontificate like they've been studying it, like the experts have for decades, read tens, hundreds of thousands of pages on the subject and done intense research. And they haven't. They just heard or somebody told them they have a belief and they go off. It's not pleasant.
So it says that according to Pew Research, 320,000 infants were born on American soil to immigrant parents without authorization in 2023. Under Trump's order, babies of millions of migrants who entered the country, legally or not, wouldn't automatically be eligible for citizenship. This is a complete turnaround from the way the U.S. has viewed birthright citizenship since 1868. This isn't just a misstep, it's a fundamental misunderstanding of the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution, one person wrote. But here's the thing, and this is why I'm bringing this up to you. Why didn't the justices, when they wrote the 14th Amendment,
they didn't write it. It was Congress proposed it. It was partially drafted by Frederick Douglass. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Well, why weren't they specific? Because how can you have known that under the Biden administration, we will literally have open borders? And before the Biden administration, we had an issue with illegal immigrants, migrants, or what have you, and this anchor baby, birthing tourism. Our immigration system already had collapsed. It was just unorganized, disorganized. But I think people are going back to the Constitution, and, as we should. And sometimes it's like, okay, how do you interpret? It's all about interpretation, correct?
Yeah, well, it's more than interpretation. It's like, how do you anticipate everything that will occur over the next 500 years? Nobody made anybody God, and nobody made any real prescience available to somebody 230 some years ago to say, oh, this will happen in 2020 when all of these people, you can't. So the key to this is understanding the very first case that the U.S. Supreme Court decided, and it's got to do with the common law. The common law is judge-made law. That's what the case says. All law in the United States is fundamentally common law until it's superseded by statutory law. In other words, actions of legislative bodies. If you set up a law that is entirely too precise, it's unworkable. So what you do is set up, basically, as they've done in the amendments and in the Constitution itself, set up some principles of law that those who are charged with formulating the common law, in other words, using common sense and being learned, wise, and experienced in law and the ways of life, can fathom out what is appropriate, and the Constitution and its amendments become guidance. It's not a proscription like saying, the speed limit is 35 here. It is a set of guidance principles. So you have to have interpretation. So you have the Supreme Court with the specified purpose of interpreting and applying the law. Now, that's where you are.
So it says the 14th Amendment, all persons born and naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens to the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Which part? Subject to jurisdiction.
Yeah, that was Now that meant, this is how you would explain it. A spy blows up a munitions plant. An American that he turns blows up the munitions plant. If they catch the spy, they'll shoot him for being a spy. But if he escapes, it's an act of war and they can't touch him. If the American blows up the plant and gets caught during the war or after the war, they'll try him for treason and then shoot him. You see the difference? One is subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, meaning he's subject to their laws wherever he happens to be. The other one is not, because once he escapes from the United States and gets back on his submarine and goes elsewhere, he's no longer subject. Now, when you say subject, you're also talking about Indians. An Indian who's on a reservation is not subject to American law unless he comes off the reservation. The Indian reservation is looked at as a separate nation that peculiarly occupies the same territory as the United States of America, which is a sovereign entity. So that gets brought up with not subject to taxation. And also, if you're talking about somebody who's subject to American law at all times, does this person have a legal standing and a personal intent to make where he lives in the United States his home? If he does not have a legal intent, well, there is ample discussion during Congress's debates on the 14th Amendment, how to draft it before sending it out to the states. And there is specific discourse that seemed to be accepted without question that you were not talking about transitory people who just come through the United States on a vacation, business, or diplomatic circumstances, or who may be enemy forces. You were only talking about people who not only had a residence here, it was a legal residence, and they intended to make it their home, a domicile. Domicile is distinctively different from residence. You can be somebody who is a truck driver and have multiple residences in various cities around the United States where you are buying a condo or you have a small house or shanty or whatever it is, but the one you call home or home port is known as your domicile. There is a difference. You can have multiple residences, but only one domicile. That's what you call home. And it has to be a legal home.
So the first part of the 14th Amendment, it is basically very clear. Subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. If you are an illegal, you don't reside anywhere.
Okay, I'll give you an example.
Any jurisdiction. No, I'm just reading it out.
Yeah, I get that. That's the thing. That is exactly right. That's right.
So I want to read the second part. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law.
In other words, they applied the Bill of Rights to the states.
And also, so how does this apply to an illegal? Because
what it is that, first off, you cannot be a citizen of the United States if you are illegal. See, this is the flaw in the whole stupid argument that the open border folk were talking about. They were saying these people are not visitors possessed of a visa. They are not citizens. They're talking about allowing non-citizens to have the rights of citizens just because they have an anchor baby. Now, the result that could come out of it if someone was cold-blooded is simply the child is a citizen of the United States. For humanitarian purposes, we'll allow you to take the child for right now and leave, or we'll keep the child and eject you, which is not unusual, especially today with single-parent head of households and the involvement of women or females in certain types of violent crime. I often had a situation where somebody got found guilty of, let's say, especially aggravated robbery. In other words, they committed an armed robbery and some people got shot. And the nominal sentence is 25 years in a state penitentiary. I'm not going to suspend that. I can't suspend that because they have a child that nobody can take care of. It just has to become a ward of the state of Tennessee. And Child Protective Services comes and gets the child, and maybe if they're lucky, if the child's lucky, somebody will foster or adopt it. So, you know, that's the way it works.
So,
in other words, you shouldn't have done the crime if you didn't want to do the time, get the fine, or find that you had other penalties and consequences. This is just part of this thing today where nobody should have consequences for their actions. You should get a freebie in everything you do.
So a lot of illegals, because you even said it yourself, they are entitled to due process.
That's to determine if they are illegals, not whether there is some course of action that follows from that status. Mm-hmm. In other words, are you an illegal or do you have a visa? And then the other thing is how did the person enter the United States? If they entered the United States legally, it is totally different than if they illegally entered. And I'm thinking of what happens when most of these cases that the open borders people were citing came about because somebody entered the country legally, but let's say their visa expired. Well, that's like you had a valid lease when you got the apartment, and what happens to you after the lease expired and the landlord wants the apartment back? He just can't come in and change the locks. He's got to file an FED, which is a forcible entry and detainer action, in court and get you thrown out. Now, that's different than you taking a 1-week vacation with your significant other, coming back and finding that some crackheads had busted into your apartment and decided to camp out. They didn't get in there legally, so their circumstances are different than somebody who signed a lease, but the lease is expired.
Right. Well, and here's the last part of it. Nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws.
Yeah, that's appropriate. Now, we're not talking about equal protection of the law. See, there's this concept that's not been discussed. It's called the elastic border. Imagine, if you can, there's a giant soft rubber band that is extremely stretchable that surrounds the borders of the United States. Anybody that comes in legally is let in through a hole in that elastic band. If the person is not legal, there's no hole for them to come through. The band just stretches, and even if they get 1,000 miles inside the nominal border, they still haven't penetrated it because the border expands elastically, staying in front of them. So what happens is when you catch an illegal, ICE takes somebody into custody that is an illegal, it just snaps back and they get ejected out of the country like they've never entered. In other words, that's like you come to a nightclub, you want to get in, and you try to crash the door. The bouncer just grabs you and throws you back out the front door saying you can't come in here.
Let me, I want to share this clip. This is also Trump's Truth Social post. He reposted, breaking 320 children, nearly 9% of U.S. births were born to temporary migrant mothers. Wow.
Yeah, in other words, it's not the discussion in the Supreme Court arguments was on temporary visitors. That wasn't to apply on a sojourn, just traveling through.
About birth tourism. It's booming. In 2023, over 300,000 babies were born to unauthorized or legal temporary immigrant mothers. Add that in total. It's 9% of the U.S. births in that given year. When we look at how that shakes out over time, a clear spike in the number of births to unauthorized immigrant mothers in the United States from 2019 to 2023. That's unprecedented. It's unforeseen. It's undeniable. But Chief Justice Roberts, unconvinced.
It certainly wasn't a problem in the 19th century. No, but of course, we're in a new world now, as Justice Alito pointed out to, where 8 billion people are one plane ride away from having a child who's a U.S. citizen.
Well, it's a new world. It's the same Constitution.
Yeah, but there's one interesting thing that nobody even discussed. The very first case the U.S. Supreme Court decided said all law is common law until it is superseded by statutory law. The common law is based on tradition, precedent, and, quote, the evolving conditions of society. So we now have this situation where it was no problem back in the 19th century at all, but now it becomes a pressing matter of national security, where one of our deadliest enemies or adversaries, China, back 20 years ago, used to advertise vacations to the United States for pregnant women so they could establish dual citizenship for their children. And the Chinese government expected that to be an avenue to come in with sleeper cells and sleeper agents who could claim dual citizenship with the United States as a consequence. That was nothing that was ever remotely considered by anybody, and I think it is an astonishing proposition that there are likely to be a number of people on the U.S. Supreme Court who would uphold the prospect of American security being diminished, would uphold the prospect of making crime pay, which unlawful entry is a crime, and would uphold the prospect of saying that there is no way to control this threat. Because if they rule on a constitutional basis, the aspect of it that is not being considered by the open border type is that the Congress won't be able to do anything, and the only remedy for this you can come up with would be to have a constitutional amendment. So that is just an absurdity that does not lie. That's like we talk in Article 1, Section 8 of piracy, but piracy, when the Constitution was ratified in 1789, certainly didn't embrace airplanes, but Article 6, which talks about ratifying treaties becoming supreme law of the land, certainly adjusts that by recognizing that hijacking aircraft becomes an act of piracy. So
this person put in the chat, which I do agree, it says, you know, you look at these anchor babies, that's a future voting bloc.
It's not the anchor babies. The idea is that the census data is predicting a drastic loss of congressional seats, not holders of those seats who are friendly to the states in California, New York, New Jersey, Illinois, Michigan, etc., because of population shifts. So one of the driving engines behind this support for illegal immigration is, in fact, trying to get illegals in so they can be counted so that California, New York, New Jersey, etc., won't lose congressional seats by 2030. So that would alter their ability to push their particular agendas when the balance in Congress is reduced. Just take right now 6 U.S. representatives in the House from the Democratic total right now, and it makes a drastic difference. And the other thing is I participated in at least 6 census takings since I've been an adult, and the last one in 2020 was the only one where I was not asked my citizenship status and the status of my parents.
So I want to swing back to 14th Amendment and Black Americans real quick, because it's just quote comment. It says 13th Amendment equal freedom, 14th Amendment equal protection of that freedom. And that's will be specifically for...
It wasn't protection so much, it was establishing it to undo the Dred Scott decision that was still good law after the Civil War, and it said a Negro could not be a citizen of the United States.
So, okay. So if the 14th Amendment was to undo Dred Scott, and Dred Scott was really specifically for enslaved, right, American or Africans or whatever, the enslaved Black people, So the 14th Amendment, when Trump was saying it was for the children of enslaved people, it has that's. So the question was, don't the justices know why the 14th Amendment, the 14th Amendment was to outlaw Dred Scott? So they know the 14th Amendment is specifically for former enslaved people who are now Americans, not people crossing the border. They know this. So why are they arguing like Justice Jackson, trying to say, well, if you have a baby, technically there are citizens? It's no technical about it, because you know the history of the 14th Amendment.
Yeah, well, they're ignoring it conveniently. The Supreme Court set that up back in the 1870s when they started ruling that the 15th Amendment, that was also for the benefit of the former slaves, was used to outlaw discrimination against any person, which included fictitious persons created by state legislative action, and we know them as corporations. So periodically, the U.S. Supreme Court has followed that precedent and said that corporations have the same rights as real people. Now, back to this other thing.
Hold on. That case was Wong Kim Ark. Thank you so much.
You got a lot of Wong stuff. Wong Kim Ark. The bottom line, they come out of San Francisco. There's another one called Wong Sun.
Do you remember?
I was mentioning, see, what happens is you have to be very careful what you put in a legislative act, because it can easily be misconstrued. That's one of the reasons I warn so often about the evils of coming up with hate crimes, because the draftings are usually imprecise. They're usually done by people who are emotionally invested in something, and they tend to be very susceptible to being reversed in effect in a few years. In other words, the law winds up stomping on the people that it's supposed to protect. But back to this whole thing.
Oh, I wanted to bring up his super chat. You wanted to...
Yeah. See, but here's the deal. What was afoot had Kamala Harris or Joe Biden been elected for another 4 years or for 4 years was that the president, as chief diplomat of the United States by the Constitution, could retroactively declare a group of people to be refugees. He could retroactively declare the entry date. And let's say Kamala Harris had gotten in, she could retroactively establish January 20th as the date of entry, and everyone who came in after that point under certain circumstances as a refugee. What difference does that make? Well, it makes a big difference, because if you're not a refugee and you come in and you apply through legal means, what happens is you have courses to take, tests to take, and you have to pass those tests, and they can take years, and then you're sworn in. But if you get retroactive refugee status, what happens is that 5 years from the point where the retroactive declaration says you entered the country, you are now automatically a citizen without having to take a single course, without having to take a single test, and you can vote. So 20 years from 2020 would be 2025. 5 years from 2020 would be 2025. And all of these people that have come in, crossed the border during the now defunct Biden administration, could vote in this next midterm election without anything else. So they would have ramped up the number of people in California and increased the number of people who could vote, so they wouldn't lose any congressional representation, they would gain them. Now, if it was apparent that these people were not likely to vote Democratic, she could delay the declaration of refugee status, and she probably would have waited up until about right now to declare that, based on polls and stuff to indicate which way they were likely to go.
So it says, Judge Joe, so what should happen to these products of illegal birth tourism? Wouldn't that mean they're illegal? And then he puts AB, Initio, INITO. I don't understand that word.
Ab initio, that means on its own.
Okay. Should in case law wait?
I read that thing. I read it. Go ahead and read it.
Should in case law exist to substantiate their illegality?
No, there is none. It hadn't come up really before. The cases they cite are really talking about ancillary factors. And in each instance, the question comes about where somebody who gained legal entry is now in an illegal status, typically because their visa expired. Now, there is another Wong case. This one's called Wong Sun, and it stands for the fruit of the poisonous tree, and it's a criminal case. It goes both ways for prosecution and defense, though it's very seldom applied on a defense basis. Basically, it means if how this thing all started was poisonous, then nothing that comes from that can be used. In other words, if the government conducts an illegal search and seizure, then no evidence that they seize or acquire or learn of can be used to prosecute. In this case, it would be if you acquired an illegal entry, you can't have any gain from the illegal entry. In other words, crime should not pay, whether it's committed by the government or by a private person. So in this case, what it would mean is these people came here illegally, so to keep crime from paying, they can't claim birthright citizenship for
Donnie, the New York mayor, he's releasing this reparations plan for minorities or whatever. Racial equity is how he's labeling it. But look, there's no white people around here. Of course not. Check this video out. These people, these Democrats are nuts.
This morning, New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani announced a citywide racial equity plan and a true cost of living measure. I'll let him tell you more about it.
More than 5 million New Yorkers are not earning enough money to match the cost of living here in the city. So what the true cost of living shows us is exactly that in the name. It shows us something that captures the scale of a cost of living crisis that is often missed by the typical indicators. Working class New Yorkers are 4 times as likely to leave the city than wealthy New Yorkers when it comes to the cost of living crisis. The racial equity plan is a plan of hundreds of pages that is informed by plans from more than 40 different agencies for how to deliver on racial equity across city policy, city government. It sets out goals, it sets out indicators, and frankly, what this is a preliminary plan. It's a first step, because now we're opening it up for public comment from New Yorkers to hear from them before we finalize the plan sometime by about mid-July. The other thing I'll say to New Yorkers is we want to hear from you. We are opening up the public comment period for 30 days, and we would love for you to share your opinions with us.
Thank you so much. I certainly will.
Today's announcement has 2 parts. The preliminary...
Look, where's the white people at? Yeah, but this is... how do you even accomplish this? Give everybody a $20 raise? That's inflationary. Like, when I hear politicians say they're going to fix the cost of living, what can you actually do to fix the cost of living? You could give everybody a $20 raise, but that's inflationary. Everybody's got more money to spend, which is going to drive the cost of everything up. Yeah, make houses more affordable. How do you do that? You can't. Yeah, but listen what this fool got to say. But the problem is, they are the problem. Yeah. That's why nobody can afford anything. It's because of our government. That's why college tuition is through the roof. It's because of our government. All our problems is literally coming from the government. Yeah, the college tuition is so expensive because the government came and said, look, only the rich white folks can go to college. Yeah. So we need to have these Negroes and these Chinese, these Mexicans, these Nicaraguans, all these people be able to go to college. So you know what? We're going to make it so anybody can get a student loan, which drives the prices of college through the roof. Yeah. But let's listen to what this guy got to say.
Today's announcement has 2 parts. The preliminary citywide racial equity plan and the inaugural New York City true cost of living measure. Together, these reports establish a framework for how our city will both measure affordability and plan for the future. The true cost of living measure confirms what New Yorkers have long known to be true. Too many people cannot afford the city that they love. New York City is home to skyscrapers, $1 million listings, $9 lattes. And yet more than 3 in 5 New Yorkers, 62%, cannot keep up with the cost of living in this city. Despite the incredible wealth of our city, our poverty rate is double that of the national average, and it is getting worse year over year. And while today's true cost of living measure confirms that the affordability crisis touches every corner of our city, we know that these effects are not applied evenly. So often it is Black and brown New Yorkers who are hit the hardest. This preliminary racial equity plan is the first step in developing a whole of government approach to tackling that reality. It is a plan that lays out these first steps to solve decades of neglect and discrimination, and it places the work of 45 city agencies within a singular framework.
This plan was born during a defining moment in our city's history, when New Yorkers were in the streets in the midst of a global pandemic, calling for justice, demanding accountability, and bearing witness to brutality unfolding on our streets and on our screens. In that moment, our city was asked to reckon with the deep systemic inequities that have long shaped life here and to do better.
You've got to do better, Senator.
New Yorkers across all 5 boroughs answered that call. Their voices, their advocacy, and their persistence are what brought us to this moment. The release of the preliminary citywide racial equity plan is a reflection of that collective mandate. It is not just a document, it is a commitment to confront institutional and systemic racism within our city and to begin the work of dismantling it.
It's nuts. Y'all talking about helping poor Black and brown folks. What y'all gonna do for the poor white folks? They do exist. Y'all gonna help brown and Black folks. You didn't say anything about helping a poor white folks. You know why? There's no such thing as a poor white person. They're all rich. They got white privilege. They walk around with all this money in their pockets. They don't have to struggle because they got white privilege. All the Black and brown people are broke because of the evil white man. They're taking all the resources. Yeah, they say it's oppression because Black and brown people are poor. No, y'all just ain't good enough. You just ain't good. It's the white man. I hate to break it to you. There's poor white people, dude. Just tell them you're joking. Tell them you're being facetious. I was joking. All right, look here. Look, it's horrible policy. Like, y'all let all these illegal immigrants, and y'all was putting them up in hotels, giving them thousands of dollars a month to live off of. That ruins the American citizens' wages because they got to compete with this illegal immigrant that will work for peanuts. No health care. I mean, y'all like a snake just eating itself. Y'all are the biggest idiots on this planet. Talking about y'all gonna help uplift brown and Black folks out of poverty. And you can't do that. The only way you can do that is if the individual person does it on their own. You can't do it. I used to be broke. Yeah. I mean, I remember I was walking by, I remember my car broke down, and I was walking by this Taco Bell. I said, man, I'm hungry. I sure wished I had $3.22 so I could go get me 4 tacos. I was that broke in my life. I mean, I was so broke. We was homeless. We was in a hotel. Yeah, I remember that. Will you shut up and let me talk? I remember I used to go to Del Taco, man. You used to get 3 tacos for $1.15, and they give you a complimentary cup of water. Man, that would hit the spot, man. But now those same 3 tacos, man, I think tacos now $4 from Del Taco. Yeah, but this was back when I was 20 years old. I was 22. 20. I'm 50 now. That was 30 years ago. Yeah. You know how cheap tacos was? It was like $3-4. I didn't have the money. You used to get a pack of ramen. A pack of ramen, 10 packs for $1. I remember you could go get those Tina's burritos. You get 10 of them for $1. I remember that. Inflation, yeah. But man, the reason why we're in this position is because you got idiots like this running the country. Our government is too big. Y'all spend too much money. That's inflationary. What you about